Hello and welcome to Offstage. My name is Shamanay Bia, and today we will be talking to Matt and Murray from 3's and 7's. Good. How are you guys doing?
Good, thanks. How are you holding up?
Very good, thank you. It's a nice and sunny day in Joburg, so always good.
Getting pretty cold.
I think it's just your Scottish blood. It makes you prone to cold.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool, guys. So, Matt, where are you originally from, and how did you start getting into music?
Well, when my mom and dad loved each other very much. No, well, in all seriousness, I'm from Joburg. The whole band's from Joburg. And I got into music sort of very young. I was sort of captivated by the guitar at a very young age, watching like Eric Clapton on TV and Fleetwood Mac and the Eagles and bands like that through my parents. And then I took up guitar lessons from age 9 and I've kind of haven't stopped since. So I guess that's where my musical journey has been throughout.
That's so amazing. And Murray, where are you from? Because obviously you're not from Scotland.
No, I'm born and raised in Joburg. Pretty much similar story to Matt. Grew up watching live shows, mostly Queen on TV, and I was just captivated. So from then on, music was the be all and end all, pretty much.
That's amazing. So, how did you guys come together as a band?
Pure coincidence, actually. I was actually in another band at the time that Murray and I met, and we met sort of what was it 2018, literally first day of varsity. We both started at Wits, and we just happened to sit next to each other on orientation day, and we got talking. I think I was wearing a Nirvana t-shirt because I thought, oh, if I wear this shirt, I'll make friends who like music, and
And that you did?
it seemed to have worked because Murray sat next to me and we started talking about bands we liked, and it turned out we really loved the same influences like Nirvana and Foo Fighters and Queen and Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin. And from there, I stayed in my other band for I think it was about 2, 3 more months because my previous band was basically coming to an end pretty much as I was about to meet Murray. So it was kind of like a chance meeting. And after I left my previous band, just before I left my previous band, Murray and I had actually started jamming some songs together on an acoustic guitar on campus. Started writing a few songs, and then as I left my other band, I said to him, "Hey, let's start a new band, and you can sing, and I'll play guitar, and we'll see what happens."
That's amazing. So, you two were basically the start of 3's and 7's band.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's so cool. And how did you guys decide on the name?
So basically, for our first gig, we managed to find a bassist and drummer duo from recently disbanded band called Lament of the Wolfman. And then while we were jamming a few covers, getting to know each other, 3's and 7's by Queens of the Stone Age was one of the songs that we were jamming. And when the first gig opportunity came up, we needed a name. And Matt suggested, hey, let's name ourselves after this song. This is a pretty cool song. And then it kind of just stuck from there.
That's so amazing because I saw it because I did my research and I was like, is this the song from Queens of New Age or
Queens of the Stone Age, yeah.
sorry. So I was like, maybe this is where they got their name. And I didn't want to just like assume and not get it right, but I'm so glad that it is how you guys got your name. And was there ever like a time where you guys felt the need to change the name, or are you still very happy with the name that you chose?
Oh, we at the time it was kind of like I suppose, a bit of a placeholder name because we didn't know what else to call ourselves. But I kind of looked it up and I saw there wasn't really any other bands to my knowledge, or at least upon like a like a simple Google search. There were no other bands that seemed to have that name. So we kind of decided, hey, you know what? It's actually kind of cool. It's got a nice ring to it. So I guess once we decided on it, it just kind of stayed like that. And we've been pretty happy with it since. And people seem to be associating us with the name quite a lot now, especially on the local scene, which is awesome because it shows that the name has some meaning and some potency. So yeah, memorable.
So you guys basically started out as a five-piece band, and today, currently, you guys are a four-piece band. Would you guys like to elaborate on the story as to how that changed?
We actually started as a four piece, as Murray said. We started out as Murray on vocals, myself on lead guitar, and then we had a bassist named Mitchell, and we had a drummer named Josh. And about 2 months into the band, after that first gig opportunity, Josh quit the band. And then we were a three piece, and we had to find another drummer, obviously. And then we met our current drummer, Lorenzo Germani. I met him at a house party one night, asked him to come audition for the band, and obviously he got in. And at the same time that Lorenzo came to audition, Murray had a friend named Adrian who I happened to also meet on the same day I met Murray because they went to school together and they were both singers. And then we got this smart idea of like, hey, what if we had like two lead vocalists and, had harmonies and cool melodic kind of stuff blending two voices. And it kind of worked out for a while, and we stayed like that for like over a year, from like October 2018 to about January of this year, just over a year. And unfortunately, Mitchell and Adrian quit the band for personal reasons, but we're soldiering on as a four piece. And recently we recruited Alex Olivier, our current bassist, as the bass replacement. And we decided it would be better maybe if we go back to being one vocalist. It's kind of just a more simple back to basics kind of band structure. We sort of did the experimental stage and we kind of decided that it's much easier with four people. So in a nutshell.
So, how do you guys experience it getting new musicians in? Do you guys adapt easily to other musicians, especially knowing that you have a certain image for your band?
Well, I think the major thing when it comes to playing in a band is whether the personalities gel. The music often comes later, after jamming a while. So I think in terms of finding new band members and everything, I think whether they gel with us as people and whether we gel with them as people, so is the main key factor.
Yeah. And the other thing is, as I said in the beginning, pure coincidence is kind of how this band has formed and how it's kind of gone ever since. And it's all been like pretty good coincidences along the way. So when we needed a drummer and bassist in the beginning, we just happened to find two people that worked. And when we needed a replacement drummer, we just happened to meet the right guy at the right time. And when we lost, our bassist and our other singer, it kind of just all fell into place at the right time. We met Alex at exactly the key moment that we were like looking for a new bassist to carry on. And coincidentally, Alex is also the singer and bassist of a two-piece band called Up Your Sleeve. Their drummer, Mark, plays drums also for Indie Dog, who I know you recently interviewed Seb from. So likewise, they also found Mark at the same time we found Alex. So both our bands kind of found a perfect band that we could split in the middle and take a member from each. So everything's a coincidence with this band, and it's quite cool.
Yeah, it's a lucky coincidence. So, for you guys, would you say personally that you guys get along very well as friends?
I would say so. I mean, we do get into the odd arguments over music, but it's never anything more than that. Our personalities gel really well. We all like each other, or at least I hope I do. Uh,
Oh yeah, I'm meaning to tell you, Murray.
That is why this is actually an intervention.
Yeah, thanks for bringing us together. This had to be, we had to air our dirty laundry on air.
Oh shit, bro. Yeah.
So, for you guys, you've been together for quite a while. What would you say was the most challenging thing being a band, like for one another and like learning each other's ways? What would you say is the most challenging?
In terms of like playing together, it obviously takes a while sometimes for things to sort of mesh perfectly because as you said, when you get new people in a band, it takes a while to get used to how they play and like seeing like how we get along as people and stuff. But I'd say that isn't really as much of a challenge as perhaps getting finding the right people to help push the band forward. So making contacts and finding ways to push forward. And I'd say certainly right now one of the most challenging things for us is money is quite difficult when you're in a pandemic situation where you're not making any money, from gigs or like work or anything really. So you can't really pay people to help promote your band and help put the best image forward if you can't even like pay them. So I'd certainly say that is sort of a non-musical challenge right now. But yeah, we've kind of met a lot of really awesome people along the way who have approached us and said, we want to work with you, we want to help you. And we've made some awesome friends in other bands. So we've been very lucky as well. So it's kind of been a struggle that I think all bands go through with money and trying to get ahead, trying to write good songs and stuff. But I'd say as a band, we actually have such a good relationship with each other that the music just works really well. So yeah.
That's amazing. And how would you say you guys resolve conflict?
A good slap in the face always works.
Nah.
Nah, we kind of just try and find a middle ground, and in most things, the majority rules. So what's nice about being in a 4-piece band is, again, each person has their own input into the song. So we can all disagree with each other and bring up ideas and suggestions, and it's never anything to take personally, which is quite nice in a band situation. So yeah, we pretty much just talk it out and try come to the best solution we can.
Compromise is kind of the foundation that from the beginning, I sort of said to everyone, we need to form a band that has, really good, a solid foundation on like friendship and compromise if necessary. And I don't think we've actually ever had a situation where it's gotten so bad that we've literally like stormed out of the room and refused to talk to each other for a week. Like the people in this band are here because we want to be here, so we're not here to pick a fight with each other. But as Murray said, if you have an opinion of how maybe a song could be slightly improved, or if something just isn't working or something just doesn't sound as good as it can be, you're free to say it. And you know you can agree to disagree, but most times we'll figure it out. We'll listen to each other. Listening is very important as well.
That's very true. So, speaking of how you guys like all have your own opinion about stuff, how do you guys start writing a song or entirely write a song?
For our previous songs, at least, it usually starts with either a lyrical idea from me in the form of a poem or just a set of lyrics, or a vocal idea, or even like a little guitar part that I send to Matt, or Matt comes up with his brilliant guitar bits and is like, this is a new idea, let's work on it. And then we all kind of like add our own bits and bobs and make it our own, pretty much. So it's a very collaborative writing process.
Of course, and everybody is obviously like in charge of their own instrument, and to write something that matches the lyrics and say, for instance, the bass line or the guitar line.
Yeah, kind of. It's like he has an idea. We literally have a WhatsApp songwriting group where we put all these lyrics and song ideas. So it will literally be a case of put that on there. give it to the guys, and if the guys, have something that they think they can add to it, they'll come up with something. And there, once we've kind of written how we interpret the song individually, we'll bring it and then we'll workshop it and be like, okay, maybe that little part doesn't work, or that note or that drum fill doesn't work. And as Murray said, yeah, it's very collaborative. We all take equal writing credit from it at the end of the day, because it's too many times in history there have been incidences of bands breaking up over who wrote what song and who gets the money. So just do it equal, because you're all here for the same purpose. And another thing I've learned, that how to test if a song's really good is if the drummer thinks it's amazing, because Lorenzo, despite being the drummer, not really writing like melodic related stuff, the other day I put an idea on, a brand new idea that no one had heard before, and he said, dude, this is one of the coolest things I have ever heard. And then I'm like, all right, I'll take your word from it. We'll work on it then.
What do you guys do during the day when you do not have band or not performing on a stage?
Basically, attempt to study if we can.
We're all varsity students, except me. I just finished my degree, but I'll be doing honors next year. But we're all students by day.
That's pretty cool. So, do you guys find it very difficult to keep sane during this whole quarantine? Because obviously, you guys, well, previously, you guys couldn't get out, rehearse so much as you used to. So, how did you guys cope during all of this as a band?
It's been quite a struggle, not going to lie. It's coming up, I think, almost 4 months since we've played together as a band, which is quite something.
Yeah.
And then we basically have just been chatting over Discord or over WhatsApp, just trying to keep busy with writing and editing songs and doing some covers. So yeah, it's been a struggle, but we're making it through slowly but surely.
Have you guys had the idea of making a quarantine song, doing like the whole vibe of just like a Zoom call or something? Because most of the bands are doing it at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, we've got brand new song ideas. We certainly have been very busy with writing, and I think we've got like 3 brand new ones that I think are probably going to become 3 of our best to date, in my opinion.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's exciting.
Yeah, we've been very busy with with making sure that we come up with more stuff. And I mean, we take pride in all our songs, but I think to write so separate, but try keep in sync is a really difficult thing, as Murray said. So we've kind of been flexing our songwriting muscles and trying to, stay stay sharp as we can. In terms of making like a quarantine specific song, I mean, we've both Murray and I have been writing maybe a few lyrics down where we've kind of been reflecting on how we're feeling individually about what's going on. But in terms of making like a whole the world is ended kind of song, like I don't really see us doing that, because I think it's already been done. We kind of like to do things a little bit differently and put our spin on it. So it won't be exactly the same as what you're hearing right now, if it does come to that.
So, in your guys' personal opinion, would you say that the live scene will ever be what it was?
I hope it will be better than what it was, if I'm honest. I think there's a lot of bands itching to play again and a lot of people itching to see music. So when everything does start slowly coming back to a more social civilization society kind of thing, it will probably result in it being a bit better. So that's one hope for the future.
Yeah, I think also the conditions right now, where people have been forced to adapt to live streams and doing like whether it's from their bedroom or doing like really professionally set up live streams. I know Urban Sessions has been doing a lot of them, and they're doing an amazing job. Like they are proper professional setup. Like I didn't even think we had the technology to be able to pull pull it off the way that artists have. And I think everyone's been surprised by how quickly and I wouldn't say seamlessly, but certainly effectively been able to adapt. So I definitely see live streams probably as a more normalized way of consuming music even after this is over. And even if we start having like car park gigs where everyone chills in their car and then listens to a live band, like I think that could be quite a cool concept. And I know there are a few people who want to do that, but hopefully it does come to fruition and isn't like completely squashed out by a lockdown getting worse.
Of course. So you guys have played Oakfest last year. How was that?
It was good fun, yeah. It was a very hot day. I mean, you could see from the pictures like we were out there like getting sunburned, but hey, we were having fun just to play on a stage. So yeah, it was quite an awesome jol, and hopefully when we get back to playing, we'll play some more festivals. But it was really cool to have that outdoor stage experience for the first time.
Of course. So what other live events have you guys done except for Oakfest? Because I saw that you guys were at Rumors and you've played at Railways. So what else have you guys done?
The most notable that comes to mind is probably the Platteland Battle of the Bands last year. That was a really, really good gig. Really enjoyed that. Played with some awesome bands. There's some really cool things coming up. So that's pretty much up, I would say, the most memorable for me.
We've kind of played like a lot of the live venues sort of in Joburg slash Centurion. So as you said, Rumors, Lounge and Rock City and Railways. Those are two that we've played quite often. We've played Bailey's Bedford View. We've played Josie Show Bar. We've actually played, I think, majority of the places, the most notable places that you can play. But as Murray said, yeah, the Platteland gig was fantastic. I mean, their stage and sound is super professional. So that was awesome as well.
That's amazing. And obviously, you guys have, over the past few years, you guys have gotten to know a lot of bands. So, who would you say is one of your favorite bands to see at a gig? Say, for instance, you go to Railways and you see, like, for instance, here's Indie Dog. Like, who would you say is the band that excites you the most to perform with?
Indie Dog, Club of Suns, Zebra, the list goes on, really.
Yeah, Blomwort, Jungle of Mischief. Yes, who else? I hate being asked this because my mind always goes blank when this happens. But Up Your Sleeve, I love Alex's band as well. I think he and Mark were doing Up Your Sleeve even long before we even knew either of them. So I'm a big fan of what they're doing, and they've got some new music coming out as well. So that's quite exciting. And I'd actually say a lot of the indie bands on the scene, like throughout the country, are actually really, really, really exciting bands. And I think it's so cool that there's this really bustling next generation of musicians. Like South Wolves in Durban, also a really, really fantastic band. I love their stuff. And we're friends with another guy called Matt Brown, who goes under the alias Matthew, but with the A as like an underscore. So it's like M blank Few. And he's also fantastic musician, also friends with a lot of the bands that we're friends with.
Didn't he do something with Ian from Indie Dog?
Yeah, they did a collab not too long ago. I think they have at least one song coming out. I don't know when, but I have heard it and it's a really really cool little ditty. So yeah, he's fantastic as well. Also become a good friend of ours. Sort of, any band that I think is willing to socialize like we are and support each other, I think we'll become friends with anyway. I mean, sometimes it's been us approaching bands, sometimes it's been them approaching us. The most important thing is just to build a community where you're open to receiving whoever wants to be open enough to even be like, hey, you want to be mates? I love your work. Yeah. So pretty much any of the indie bands that are like that, we're fans of.
That's amazing. And also because it's such a small group of people. Like, okay, yes, there is a lot of bands, but it's still such a small community. So I think personally, as a technician, everybody should at least try to get along, purely because you know that you're not going to see them only once. You, like, all of us are in this together, and the sooner we realize that we need to work together and start appreciating one another, this community can grow so much further. And especially helping one another in this scene where it's like, listen, if you need a gig, talk to this guy, speak to this person. And I think that's amazing because, Matt, you originally reached out and you helped me even with what we are recording on. So that's really amazing. And you guys are so humble.
Oh, I'm glad you see us as humble, first of all. Thank you very much for that. But as you say, everyone should get along because, there's everyone kind of knows each other. And that's the one thing I think we've all learned with like taking this band so seriously. And then obviously you have to take the scene seriously because, that's paying attention to what's around you is the only way that you're going to be able to sort of help navigate your way towards success. And I certainly think that, if you start making unnecessary enemies for yourself because you're acting selfishly or you act like you're better than everyone else, you're kind of doomed from the start then. So yeah, as you say, just try and be friends with everyone. And I think it goes for any industry. It doesn't have to be just music, but yeah, like if you can help someone with whatever you have, like a gig or some extra knowledge or maybe a contact for someone on the radio or someone who can help manage you or someone who's even just like, hey, I see you're trying to do this, can I suggest you do this? Yeah, like it's just community and friendship, I suppose. Sounds a bit cheesy, but it's true.
No, it is definitely true. And I think as a band, that should be like the go ahead. Because obviously, when you are in a band, everybody, it's like your group of friends. You are known by your group of friends or the people that you hang with. And like that in a band as well. Like you can't misbehave or be rude to someone as soon as you get to set because obviously they are going to identify the entire band by that one person that was rude. And I think for a lot of bands, it's still something to get quite used to is the different personalities of everybody in a group because you never know, like if someone's in a bad mood, you don't really want them to be like the face of the band at the moment. You're just like, just go sit, we'll get you something to drink.
It's like, yeah, have a Snickers, you get hungry. You get angry,
Yeah.
you get hangry.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm a hungry hippo. Yeah, I think what you're boiling down to is also just act professional. If you want to be treated like a professional band or musician or industry person, you got to act the part. But it doesn't mean you have to act better than everyone else, and you don't have to make time for people. You can very easily do both. You can be a friend, but you can be a professional person as well. So, if you can master the skill or art of doing both and realizing that they are actually pretty mutually inclusive, then I think you've got a really solid foundation to build up from.
So, drifting away from everything that we've just spoken about, Murray, what is like the one stage that you want to perform on? Like, that is your ultimate dream festival or stage or event to perform at?
Well, I'm gonna aim high and say Reading and Leeds, Glastonbury, pretty much anything of that scale. We've got high hopes. Yeah, pretty much anything of. We pretty much would like to play any gig we can get, especially at this stage. But ideal, Glastonbury, Reading and Leeds, etc.
Amazing. And Matt, what would you say are your dream stages to perform on?
Certainly the same as Murray. I think both Murray and I, particularly when we started the band and we started becoming friends, we started, thinking about the band like we do of our other favorite bands, like, as I said, Foo Fighters, Queen, Nirvana, etc., etc. And they've played, some of the biggest stages. So we obviously, for the long term, that is what we want to aspire to be. But certainly on a local level, I think that's also a good place to start before we start, pulling out all the stops. And I'd say we'd love to play Splashy Fen. We'd love to play Smoking Dragon. I know there was going to be a festival last year called the Damn Rock Fest, which had Indie Dog and Club of Suns on, and they were going to go jam that one, but then unfortunately it got cancelled almost like 2 weeks before. So if they come back, I'd love to play there. And Misty Waters is another one that I would also love to play. So there's a hell of a lot of cool places to play here. I mean, we even want to go on a Durban tour. Even that's even smaller than a festival. That's like playing some smaller venues, but provided venues are still going to be around after this, we'd love to go on a Durban tour, for instance. So we still want to see the rest of our country before we leave the country.
Cool. Okay, so let's just have like a truth 4 minutes. It might be 5. Okay, so out of everybody in the band, who would you guys say gets hangry?
Murray.
Probably me. Probably me. Yeah. An empty stomach leads for an angry vocalist.
That's just his excuse for being a prima donna lead singer. Bring me food or I won't perform.
You should just get him the Madonna mic to match his persona at that time.
Got to bring in the performance.
Dude, you gotta bring a personal assistant to say, Mr. Blamey will not speak to you right now unless he gets his pizza.
It's amazing. Okay, so who in the band would you say is the bad influence?
I'm gonna have to go with Lorenzo on that one. I would say.
You think so?
Well, he's just a bit of a wild man, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
He's a quiet man, but a wild man, we think. But also, Alex is very new to the band. I don't think we've, especially because he joined just before lockdown, I don't think we've seen the full extent of how Alex can truly be. So I'll say maybe Alex is a dark horse contender for that one.
Nice. Who would you guys say surprises you the most? So say, for instance, when you're performing and this person just decides to do something strange, who would you say surprises you the most?
I mean, in terms of mistakes, it will probably be me. Like, the mistakes are pretty surprising. But yeah, I'm not sure. Matt pulls quite a few surprise licks out here and there, especially during his solos, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm gonna go with you, Murray, because honestly, the most surprising thing for me was how much you've grown in confidence since we first met. Because it was sort of like just because Murray could sing and I couldn't, that it was kind of decided that Murray should sing. I mean, if I could sing and play guitar, I probably would have formed a band where I can do both. But I'm very mindful of the fact that I can't sing. So Murray sort of taking on that role, which wasn't necessarily an easy task, because I don't think anyone is ever truly comfortable with being the front man, even some of the greatest frontmen of all time. So the fact that you've grown in confidence as a singer, a performer, and a lyricist, that surprises me in the best way. So I'm gonna go with you.
Thanks so much, dude. And likewise.
Oh wait.
Guitar playing has definitely gotten to the level of superstardom in terms of my eyes.
So who would you guys say is the dad of the group?
Me.
Oh, really?
I think I'm honestly more of a mom than a dad, because I'm constantly running after everything that's happening. A dad will be like, yeah, I'm responsible, but he'll kind of leave it for mom to do. So I guess I'm kind of like the band mom in a way, but I suppose for the purposes of me being a male, we could kind of say the dad.
Nice. And who would you guys say is the most introverted in the group?
It used to be me, although I'm not sure now because we haven't really had too much time with Alex. So I would say between me and him, probably.
I don't know. For me, it's kind of I think we're all equally introverted. We definitely can be confident performers, and we're all mates, so we can all speak up and we can all, do an interview. So it's definitely not a case of like only Murray and I are doing the interview because no one else can. It was just because no one else was able to. But yeah, I would say we can all be equally as introverted, but also equally as extroverted and crazy. So I'd say all of us are kind of equal in that regard. Although Laurie can be very quiet sometimes. Sometimes I wonder if he's there and he's like, no, I'm fine, dude. Like,
It's ironic coming from the drummer that makes the most noise.
exactly.
So, Matt, what would you say is your most fun memory of being in 3's and 7's band?
I'd say pretty much any really good performance that we've done, like playing the Platalam Battle of the Bands, as Murray said. That was an awesome memory for all of us. We kind of ended. That was our last gig of 2019, and turns out it would be our third last gig for a while. But that was an awesome night. We wanted to make sure it was one of our best performances. But I also have really cool memories of like how we wrote our individual songs. And one song that for me particularly stands out as a really fond memory is Stars, because it was kind of the song that Murray brought to me, and he came up with the basic idea for the song and the lyrics and everything. And when I heard it, I was kind of like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually got a band with really cool musicians here, because we were still, that was about 2 months into being a 5-piece. I don't think we'd even been together for that long. And then when that happened, I just knew, like, yes, this band has some serious potential. And even writing our song I'm Done, like Murray and I literally wrote that in like maybe 2 hours together, in like a 2-hour sitting with an acoustic guitar, and we had some stuff on our chest, both of us, so we kind of aired it out together, and that song literally just fell into place out of like thin air, and it's become like probably one of our best songs. So that's a great memory for me too.
That's so nice. And Murray, what would you say is your most fun memory of being in this band?
Very similar to Matt. Those are all very memorable moments. But I would say probably,
Being on radio as well.
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Probably the first time we went on Kerry Ann's show on Mix FM. That was a very memorable moment for me. Yeah, and then we went on a band holiday to the Kruger Park a year ago. Yeah, so that was a very memorable bonding experience. I really enjoyed that.
So, do you guys personally think that you guys would ever pull a zebra? So, that is basically like the band, and what they did with their railways performance is where they would just run out of railways and then come back, and everybody would pick up a different instrument. And do you guys think that that is something that you would consider doing at a live event or at a live performance?
I mean, we all play various instruments, so we all enjoy playing various instruments. So it's not off the cards, but I think the way we gel together works really well in our current positions. But we do like experimenting, and I go hop on the drum kit, and Loz comes and like fiddles on a guitar, or Matt picks up the bass or starts playing something on the keys, kind of thing. So we all like doing various things, but when it comes to the performance, I think we work well together in our current positions.
Yeah, I think if we did switch instruments for like a song or something, there would be some forethought. So we're not really like Zebra with that spontaneous aspect of, oh, I'm gonna switch to drums for tonight, even though I don't play the drums. Like I think we joke about it all the time, but I don't know if we confident enough to actually show that how much we can't play the other things as well as we do our current things. So
That is so cool. So, last question for you guys. Going forward, what motivation or what like inspiration do you guys want to give over to bands that are upcoming or already out there and just trying to make like a living and having this like great connectivity with their band?
We aren't really in the position to be preachy or anything, but I would say just be friends, man. Be friends with your fellow bandmates, be friends with other bands, be friends with your fans, whoever they may be. Yeah, just be friendly, be nice, don't be an asshole.
Yeah, well said, dude. And also just you can be professional without putting other people down. And as I said earlier, so kind of the same thing. But also that you can enjoy making music with friends. There's a lot of bands that have been great bands throughout history who made great music, but they were never friends or on good terms with each other, like Fleetwood Mac or Oasis or like a lot of bands have their ups and downs, but there's certain bands where it's like it was a toxic environment, but somehow the music was amazing. So I think you don't have to not be friends to make good music or work together professionally. So yeah.
Great. Thank you guys so much. This was really entertaining. And thank you so much for joining. It was nice virtually meeting you two.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, thank you. Likewise, and you ask really, really cool questions. So I wish you luck on the rest of your podcast endeavors.
Thanks for having us. It was really fun.